Excuse Mr. Radio Exec, but I firmly object. You said the average listener didn't want to hear what the on-air personality had to say. But on the contrary, they all seem to feel my way. You said the average listener only wanted the music. Well, if they only wanted the music, they would go out and buy the music. Your way of thinking is useless, so you just sit back and watch me do me.
Anything else?
Kicks Mean.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what up, hookers and gigolos? Your boy Kicks Mean, man. Back at it. Radio Don't Want Me podcast, very first episode. I'd like to welcome you all. Some of y'all remember me from YouTube, doing them corny ass videos. I don't like being in front of the camera. Fuck that shit. I do radio. I started this podcast. I will tell y'all eventually why I started this podcast, but right now I just want to get into the fuck shit. The XXL 2017 freshman cover. Freshman class. Freshman list. If you're like me when this thing first came out, you thought to yourself, what the fuck? Who the fuck? Why the fuck? When the fuck? I'm starting to believe that XXL just throws people on the cover more. Scratch that. I'm gonna say they throw people on the cover prematurely, before these guys really get a buzz going, before these guys are really known, or you know, people really got a feel or a taste or a want for them. The funny thing to me is, I watched the what's her name? Vanessa Sutton was on the Breakfast Club earlier this year, talking about this freshman cover, and she just seemed so damn defensive. It just felt like she knew something was wrong with this cover. Especially when she gets on there and says nobody turned down the freshman cover, then immediately tells us people who turned down the freshman cover. That's kind of, it's just too awkward. You just come across too defensive. But I did my research. I tried to get into a couple of these guys and figure them out, see why they're on the freshman cover. I'm gonna give you a little rundown, my personal opinion on some of these guys. Let's start off with Kamaya. Kamaya is an artist out the West Coast under YG's camp. I low-key like Kamaya. I think she's gonna make like cool little songs. They may not be like super hits like everybody wants, but they'll be like, you play them, you groove to them, you chill with your homies to them or your homegirls to them, and they'll be dope. I don't see her really being like one of those names people consistently bring up, but she'll have a tune here and there, so she may, we'll see. A Boogie with the Hoodie. I like A Boogie. I like his whole sound. My only issue with him is he falls under that lane of artists who use their voices as an instrument. So yeah, you'll get called for a lot of features where you do the hooks, but you may end up more of the Fetty Wap route than the T-Pain route, where your sound makes every song sound the same. Now, I'm not quite 100% sure how good his pen game is. If his pen game is dope, then he's got some longevity in the game. But if it ain't that dope, you walking down that Fetty lane. It's a couple of artists that do that same thing where they use their voice as an instrument to the beat. I would get into that, but I don't feel like doing that right now. Maybe another podcast. Move on to PNB Rock. PNB Rock is one of those rappers on this list. He's one of those new guys that have the same sound when they rap, that same stop and go flow. Let me be the first to say, if you've never heard of this stop and go flow, it's that dumb shit that Drake is doing consistently now, where these new rappers say something and they stop, and they say something and they stop, and they say something and they stop. I need you motherfuckers to be a little bit more creative with your flows. This shit is boring. It makes every song sound the same. I'm tired of these same ass beats that sound the same. This shit is just whack. PNB falls under that category when he raps. When he sings, it's okay. I'm not fully there yet, but I will give him more opportunities to prove me otherwise. Moving on. Kyle. Kyle is the one face on this freshman cover I can truly say I've never seen nor heard of before. My young boys put me up on a couple of these dudes a little before this thing came out and gave me a more refresher after this thing came out, but nobody ever mentioned Kyle. I don't know where this dude came from. I'm not sure if his song, granted, I've heard the song I Spy. Not really down my lane. I don't think there's a big buzz for it. But nonetheless, he made the freshman cover. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. I think he's one of those artists that were put out there very prematurely because there was no buzz behind that. But it is what it is. Made in Tokyo has a few songs out there, but again, he's another one of those rappers that does that same stop and go flow. My issue with these stop and go rappers is the lack of substance. I'm gonna get into that after this list. Let's move on. Cap G. He's been around for a while. I've seen him. I'm pretty sure you've seen him in the movie Dope and some other things. When I heard his solo freestyle or his solo verse, he showed a few, outside of the I want to get me a Rafe, of course. He showed a few signs of, okay, you may have some substance to your rap. If you can just, tweak your delivery a little, you'd be kind of dope. But if you listen to most of his music, it's the same old stop and go flow and talk about a lot of nothing and And I feel like he's the only face on there I recognize from a while back. So I don't know how I get how he's a freshman, but still, not too much faith in him. Especially after that freestyle in the cypher. I was like, oh, good gracious. Well, you blew all potential with me. But then again, who am I? Move a little forward. Ugly God. Ugly God is one of those guys who's on a couple people's or a couple of these the casual fans list of guys to watch for. My only issue with Ugly God is this: you have a stick, a niche, or I don't even know what the fuck to call it. How do you say that word? A shtick? A gimmick. Let's roll with gimmick. I noticed that most of his music is him trying to say the most vulgarest shit he can say. That's it. Maybe I'm just listening to the wrong songs. Maybe I got them all fucked up. But to me personally, I just find that if you want to hear some vulgar shit and that entertains you want that shock value, that's all he has in his repertoire. Anything else is just not coming from him. Again, I don't know how long you plan on your career lasting if that's what you're holding on to. Sooner or later, those teeny bopper kids that all this shit shocks become a little older and it becomes an everyday thing and you are no longer needed. Just something to think about. A few people, two artists that are high on the list. One, Playboi Carti. I was told he's one of those guys to watch. If you watch Everyday Struggle, I don't understand why the fuck I'm not on this. I need to be a part of that show. I need to produce or a guest appearance or something, but I like that fucking show. I need to figure out how to be a part of that. I'm gonna work on that. Playboi Carti. Academic big this guy up. Bigs this guy up. I don't see it. I don't hear it. Magnolia. It's a little catchy tune. To me, it's kind of fucking annoying. And he says nothing through the whole motherfucking song. No substance. Now, let me backtrack. I understand that some songs are strictly for entertainment purposes. I get this. I understand this. But every fucking song, I can't do it. I can't listen to a full mixtape or album full of bullshit and just There's a difference between rappers and entertainers. A lot of these guys are entertainers. Playboi Carti is falling under that entertainer lane more than a rapper. That Magnolia song, again, kind of annoying. I see why people like it. On Everyday Struggle, I heard them talking about, is Playboi Carti on the clock? Yes, the fuck he is. You can't ride this song out for the whole fucking year. There has to be a follow-up. There has to be a follow-up. And 9 times out of 10, the follow-up is going to be whack, and then nobody's going to hear from you no more. Facts. Truth. This is why substance matters. There's a difference between liking an artist and loving an artist. I love Jay-Z. I love Joe Budden. Magna Carta wasn't that great, but I find a few gems on there. I'll hold on to it because I love Jay-Z. He gives me substance. I've learned a lot from Jay-Z throughout the years. Playboy Cardi fans, or most of these guys on this list fans, I don't know if you guys can honestly say you love these guys, because I'm pretty sure once the buzz dies and the song's gone and they don't follow up, you guys are going to be on to the next. Thus, another career ends. Moving on, XXXTentacion. He is what I was told to be the it guy. He is the guy to watch. So I looked up a few of his songs. I didn't see the did not see the why. I don't see why. I don't understand it. I'm lost. What am I disconnecting? Why is there a disconnect from me and XXXTentacion? I don't get it. What's the big deal about him? I don't see why he's the it guy. Let's see. Here's what threw me off about him majorly. When he did his solo verse or freestyle, whatever you want to call it, to no beat, he mumbled and speed rapped or read or however he presented it. He sped through this verse where you could barely understand what he's saying, i.e. mumble rap. And then when you caught on to what he was saying, it was kind of dope to the point where you said, okay, maybe this motherfucker was like, he said some things. So, at that point, I was like, okay, I'm excited to hear the cypher verse. We get to the cypher verse, and again, he cuts the beat and mumbles through some shit that maybe was kind of dope. So, here's what I got from XXXTentacion. I'm not 100% sure that you can rap the way you presented yourself on the XXL cypher or the freestyle on beat. Meaning you take the easy way out when it comes to creating your music, where you use that, again, stop and go flow or this simple type flow, because I don't think you can fit your content, the shit that you are capable of saying, into your rhymes. I'm not sure you've developed that skill yet, which makes me say, yeah, you were put out there prematurely. I'm not sure if you're gonna correct this, or maybe I could be wrong. I'm listening. I've heard that the album is coming. I do plan on checking it out. I'm not gonna lie to y'all motherfuckers. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm probably gonna bootleg this bitch, download this bitch, go to some pirate site, get that shit through there, listen to it. Hopefully it's dope. If it's dope, I will turn around and possibly buy it. More than likely not. But again, that's my critique on XXXTentacion. One guy on this list that I'm kind of digging him. Aminé. He seems like, outside of the entertainment shit with his single Caroline, he can really rap. He can formulate some thoughts. He can put together interesting songs. I heard a song with him and Missy. I don't remember the name of it. It was kind of dope. I know his album's out. I do have that on my laptop somewhere. I do plan on listening to it. I haven't done it yet. I've been slacking on my shit. Truth be told, I've been kind of sick of rap outside of those few guys that I listen to. But I'm kind of digging him. His whole presentation on the XXL wasn't too great, but the music I've heard from him thus far are it's kind of cool, so I'm gonna give him a chance. XXL. You gotta put some lyricists on this list. Like, you can't tell me that you've searched far and wide and this is the best you can come up with. This is you've almost, I want to say within the last 2 years, discredited yourself as a hip-hop magazine or a source for hip-hop journalism. Because this is just, you couldn't find one lyricist? Let's scratch that. Let me not go that far, because I am saying I'm kind of digging Aminé. So, man, still, yeah. Last year's list, when everybody was raving about, your Kodak Blacks and I don't remember who else was on this fucking, your Yachty's and all these guys, a bunch of non-lyricists. The one dude on there that was the shocker to me, the sleeper on there, was the white boy, Lil Dicky. If you've never heard Lil Dicky's album, I'm not gonna go so far to tell you to buy it. Because who the fuck is buying shit nowadays? I'm going to tell you, give it a listen. Pillow Talk is my shit. YouTube that. You listen to that song. If you don't fuck with Lil Dicky, if you don't like that song, then you just don't fuck with Lil Dicky. There's nothing I can say to make you want to fuck with Lil Dicky. But that song right there is my shit. Lil Dicky. To a lot of you new rappers, let's speak on substance. If you never studied the previous rappers before you, or some of these guys we considered greats, Wayne told us a long time ago, in order to make good music, you got to keep your music personal. Not meaning personal as in you keep it to yourself, but keep it true to you. If it's your life, you put that in there. We were told a long time ago, I believe Jay said it first, where your first album is 19 to 20 some odd years in the making. From the day you were born to the day you start recording this album, and from the day you were born to the day the album comes out. That could be, again, up to 19 to 20 years of stories and incidents that you can put in an album. This is what builds your fan base. This is what makes people love you. This is what makes people say, I can relate to this guy. This is going to be my guy. When you guys put out all this meaningless music, mixtape with a bunch of random songs on there, you build I don't call it a core fan base. I call it a temporary following, where people listen to you just to hear, the cool little song you got, play it in the club, maybe. Listen to it in the car, maybe. Listen to it when we got like a group event going on. It's a couple of people hanging out and chilling and shit, maybe. But after that, your shit gets tossed. Waiting for the next joint. If the next joint ain't popping, you are out of here. As opposed to the rappers who contain a bit more substance. Those are the rappers that people go home to and listen to on their own. Those are the guys that people listen to in their car. Those are the guys that people argue about. If you're gonna be in this hip hop game, you want longevity. Let's keep it 100. A lot of you guys are doing this for the money. Doing this just for the money. And if you want to keep making money, you want to keep your following. Ask yourself, how long can I keep this up with this quick fix music? How long will it be entertaining? How long before the style changes and my shit is irrelevant? I still listen to Joe Budden's first album. I still listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony. I still listen to Eminem. Their earlier shit. I listen to Tupac's All Eyes on Me like that shit came out yesterday. Just something to think about. Let's move a little forward. Let's talk about the fuckery going on in the United States, especially the fuckery that's being led by our ever so loving presidential representative. I honestly believe that every nation out there is laughing at us because we put this genius in office. Charlottesville, Virginia. A group of white supremacists get together and say, hey, let's protest them tearing down the statue of General Robert E. Lee. There we go. All right, so General Robert E. Lee fought on the side of the slaves. Not on the side of the fought on the side of the slaves. He fought on the side of the South that wanted to keep slaves. Now, I did a little research on the guy. It's been said, or it's rumored, that he didn't fight on behalf of keeping slaves. He really fought for his home state of Virginia. Not for keeping slaves, but because Virginia was on the side of the South, he fought for that. It could be true, it could be false, who knows? But when that statue stands, all people see is you fought on behalf of keeping slaves. It has to come down. I get this. White supremacists want to protest this. I understand this. What I don't understand is, how does your protest turn from don't tear down this statue to Black lives don't matter and Jews won't replace us? This is why you lose me. What also loses me is, how do the police come to stop this whole protest or police this whole protest? These group of white supremacists fight back physically. Nobody gets maced. Nobody gets tased. Nobody gets shot. People brawl. An innocent woman lost her life. And all these guys and women, because there were some women in this group, go home to their regular scheduled lives. I don't want to call it white privilege, but if it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's gotta be a duck. This whole ordeal got so big that our commander-in-chief decided to come out and say a few words. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between a great president and our commander-in-chief. He got on national TV and said he's very disappointed in whatever action. Now, I'm not reading this. I'm freestyling this at the moment. He got on there and said something to the extent of, I'm not proud of what's going on, and he's very disappointed, and there were mistakes made on both sides. Now, our commander-in-chief, when you turn around and say something like there's mistakes made on both sides, you don't realize that you divide a nation. You took an isolated incident and made it something that now there's sides people may or may not need to choose. You could have easily said these groups of people, there were mistakes on both sides of these groups of people, and specify what you meant. But when you say both sides, you tear apart. That's a divide in your nation. A good leader does not divide their nation. Thus, when all these innocent black lives were being taken by police officers last year, I remember someone asking me, why does it seem like Barack Obama is not taking the side of Black Lives Matter and he's not speaking up for more black rights? This question troubled me. I thought to myself, well, why the fuck is he not doing that? Then I thought to myself, if you're a leader of a nation, the last thing you want to do is divide your nation. You don't want people picking sides. That's how you get another civil war. So a great president took a stand and said, what's going on in America is wrong. Again, I'm freestyling this. And he said something to the extent of, imagine this being your child. This could have been anyone's child who lost their lives. This could have been anyone's brother, anyone's father, anyone's uncle. He didn't break it down to just blacks. He tried to sympathize with a nation that he is in charge of leading and make it more relatable for everybody. Rather than you see an innocent black man, imagine it being an innocent person that you are related to. That's called sympathizing with your nation. To our current commander-in-chief, you are not doing a very good job at keeping your nation together. That's something you may want to think about. This whole Charlottesville incident, including the troubles of last year's racial tensions, has created this big ordeal in the NFL. Shout outs to Colin Kaepernick. First of all, him taking a stance against, not even taking a stance against, him taking a stance and saying that there is something wrong in our nation and these injustices should not be happening is very commendable. A while back, Michael Vick was asked, what would Colin Kaepernick have to do if he wanted to continue to play or play in the NFL? If you're not familiar with what that means, Colin Kaepernick is currently being blackballed. There's no way around it. He's being blackballed from the NFL. No team will pick him up. They're wasting his time by calling him into camps, not having him suit up, ask him a few questions, and send him on his way. That shit is wrong, especially considering the fact that Colin Kaepernick is better than a lot of starters and a lot of second string quarterbacks in the game right now. And a lot of teams need a quarterback. We'll get back to that. Michael Vick gets asked, what would Colin Kaepernick have to do if he wanted to play in the NFL? Michael Vick proceeded to say, well, if he wanted to be back in the NFL, first thing he would have to do is cut his hair or braid it, which a lot of these news media coverages don't tend to mention. We just want to stick to the negatives. So Michael Vick said cut his hair and clean up his image a little, just give a better representation of himself. These are the words of Michael Vick. I watched and I listened to social media just run his name into the ground, bring back up his past incidents, and just, it's ridiculous the way we as black people tear down our black superheroes. Because if you haven't noticed, America is doing a damn good job of having us tear down our black superheroes. If you don't believe Michael Vick's a black superhero, YouTube Michael Vick and watch the amazing things he's done. Black superhero. Now, I know everybody's gonna turn around and say, well, he was involved in the pit bull fighting. Yes, very terrible thing. The man served his time, paid his debt to society. I'm not saying put it behind. Let's put this whole thing behind us or behind him, but let's give him an opportunity to better himself. I mean, if you're, as much as people like to preach on religion, I believe God said forgive or something to that extent. I'm not a big, I don't read the Bible that much. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm spiritual. I just don't believe in religions like that. Nonetheless, that something to that extent was said where you forgive people. If you're gonna hold that against Michael Vick, I mean, I really don't know what to say after that. A lot of people were saying, what gives him the right to speak on Colin Kaepernick's situation? If you ask me, he has all the right to speak on Colin Kaepernick's situation. He should be the main one to give Colin Kaepernick advice, considering the fact that he's probably one of the players who's been through the worst situations possible in the NFL, and he figured a way to make it back. Granted, I understand Colin Kaepernick did not commit a crime, but in the eyes of the NFL, when you stir trouble, be it a crime or not, they're trying to figure out ways to correct this situation, and if they can't correct this situation, they're getting you the fuck up out of there. Truth be told. Now, when Michael Vick tells Colin Kaepernick, cut your hair and, put out a better representation of yourself, he's basically telling Colin Kaepernick something everyone has been told at some point in time of your life. If you want that job, play the game. Put on a suit and tie. Cut your hair. Trim your beard. Put on this dress. Don't go in there looking like or smelling like fuck shit. Basically, play the game. Everybody in their life has heard this at some point in time. You can't tell me you haven't. You can't tell me you just went about life and just everything was given to you the way you wanted it, how you wanted it. No. You had to finagle your way to get some things done. I refuse to believe that your life is just that perfect. So when Michael Vick tells Colin Kaepernick, play the game if you want to continue to play in the NFL, that's the part of the content or the narrative of the whole conversation that people forget. If Colin Kaepernick doesn't care to play back in the NFL, well, fuck it. Let your hair swing. Tell these motherfuckers, fuck you. I'm going to stand up and do what I want to do. And let's run with this shit. But if you do want to play in the NFL, you have to understand that an outspoken black man is something to fear in America. Sometimes you have to tone yourself down in order to get what you want. Fact. In order to make change, sometimes you have to get into a situation to change a situation. I'm not mad at Michael Vick for saying what he said. You motherfuckers shouldn't be mad at him neither. If you don't have a solution to offer to a problem, you probably shouldn't say anything about it to begin with. That's just my thought. But nonetheless, we want to crucify Michael Vick. Rather than us be mad at Michael Vick, let's be mad at all the players in a predominantly black sport league that decided, I'm not going to take a stand with Colin Kaepernick. All the players who felt the same way he felt, but did nothing. Can we be mad at those guys? Let's get mad at the fact that within a league that's predominantly black, Colin Kaepernick still doesn't have a job. So nobody's willing to stand up and protest and say, hey, if he doesn't get a job, I'm not playing. I don't want to sound like a cliche, but there's unity in numbers. There's power in numbers. United we stand, divided we fall. Gentlemen, I'm pretty sure you can miss out on a few million for a good cause. I'm pretty sure you can miss a game or two. Maybe, hey, if it goes to worse the season, even though I don't want to see that be that done. The situation is bigger than football. This year, currently, there are more players protesting in their own ways. Some players are sitting down. Some players are not sitting down due to their respect to the flag and what it represents, and it's fully understandable. Rather than sit down, they'll put their hands around a player who is sitting down or who is kneeling. That is commendable. I respect it. I accept that type of gesture, because you're basically saying, I still love this country, I love what the flag represents, but I understand that there is an injustice being done and I want to show my full support. Commendable. to the NFL. I understand that this is a business for most of these guys. As far as the executives go in the NFL, not the players. It's a business to you guys. You want to keep that revenue stream coming in. This may be something you may need to fully address and figure out a better solution than to blackball players or take the risk of jeopardizing the season on the fact that you don't want to be involved in any racial issues. Somebody in the NFL has to say, hey, listen, we need to sit down with our players and come to a mutual agreement. That way, these guys can have their protests and we cannot look bad in the public eye. My suggestion, black armbands with a black and white flag on. Players wear that if you want to show your support. If we're not doing that, to players that do want to support but don't want to piss the NFL off, hold up a black rag during the national anthem. I mean, you're still standing, you're still showing your representation for the flag, you're still showing respect for the flag, but at the same time, you're showing some sort of acknowledgement that there is an injustice going on in America that needs to be accounted for. With all that said, again, Colin Kaepernick still does not have a job in the NFL, which brings me to my beloved Miami Dolphins. How long are we gonna do this bullshit? How long are my Dolphins gonna take bargain players and have us have big hopes for a season just to let us down at the end of it? I'm tired of the bullshit. There was a year where we could have had Drew Brees. We took Dante Culpepper. There was a draft where we could have got Des Bryant. I don't even remember who the fuck we got, truthfully. I'm pretty sure they don't play for us anymore. I'm pretty sure they're probably not in the league anymore. But it is what it is. We could have had Des Bryant. Drew Brees. Dolphins go ahead and not too long ago pick up a wide receiver by the name of Ryan Tannehill to play their starting quarterback. And to this day, that decision just haunts me. I am not a fan of Ryan Tannehill. I'm pretty sure he's a great guy, but on the football field, I do not need him to lead my football team, not as a quarterback. Ryan Tannehill gets hurt. Dolphins have to make a decision. We need to get a quarterback. Dolphins decide to convince a quarterback who is ready to retire to play another year. Now we're in the Jay Cutler era. Jay Cutler, quarterback who played for Chicago for so many years, who was given many opportunities to prove himself as an elite quarterback, as a starter, as a reliable, dependable quarterback, and not maybe one season he showed glimpses of that, but his inconsistency, one season ain't enough. The Dolphins decide to take this guy, pull this guy out of near retirement and make him our starting quarterback. My issue with this is there is a quarterback out there better than Jay Cutler. We should have picked up Colin Kaepernick. I know he's got a lot of things going on, but as a Dolphin fan, I want to win. I want to put out the best player out there that can help us win. Jay Cutler is not that guy. The fact that we have a questionable line, you want to put out a strictly pocket, indecisive quarterback in that pocket to play behind our questionable line and start week after week. I'm predicting Jay Cutler to not make it past week 5. Honestly. My question to the Dolphins is, why wouldn't you want to take a quarterback knowing you have a questionable line that can potentially run out of the pocket, who is very mobile, who can throw the ball and run the ball, giving you a dual threat to help you keep defenses on their toes? Why wouldn't you take this guy? A guy who's been to the Super Bowl. I'm not understanding it. I get it. I understand that, hey, with picking up Colin Kaepernick comes some controversy. You know, if you start winning games, a lot of that shit shuts up. Jay Cutler is not our guy. We can continue this bullshit and let him, start the season. Again, I'm predicting by week 5 he'll be injured. Our record will probably be like 2-3, if that. By the time he gets injured, Colin Kaepernick will probably, maybe, there's a slight chance by the time that Jay Cutler gets hurt and we finally are willing to admit that he's not the guy we need, probably be picked up, because there's a lot of teams out there that eventually are going to come to reality and say, hey, the guy we have taking our snaps is not the guy we need. Maybe we should look at Colin Kaepernick. So I plead with the Dolphins. Please don't give me another suck-ass season. Give me something to look forward to. Jay Cutler right now being at the head of our offense makes me not want to watch a game, makes me not want to go to a game, makes me not even want to buy Dolphin merchandise for this year. This shit's fucking ridiculous. Take the best player. Well, hookers and gigolos, that's about all I got to say today. Again, if you're not familiar with me, name is Kicksmean. You can find me at Kicksmean on all social platforms. That's KICKSMEANN. Yes, 2 N's on the back of that. But that said, I'm out this bitch. Holla!